Hey everybody, Sammy here at SFI Sports Cards, back with another video. Today's February 9th. In today's video, we're going to look at some budget cards that I picked up over the last couple of months or so. But first, let's get some birthday shout-outs out of the way. Probably most notably, Vladimir Guerrero, the Hall of Famer. His birthday is today. He's a really cool prospects card. John Kruk, his birthday is today. Mookie Wilson, his birthday. So hopefully Mookie Chilson will bless us with a celebration video, perhaps. Who else we got? Cleet Boyer. His birthday comes from a great baseball family. Vic Wertz, his birthday is the 1961. Beautiful card here. The power hitter who had a great career. And anybody else? Let's see. Oh, we have the 1912 Triple Crown winner, Heine Zimmerman. His birthday is today, along with many more. But you can go on Baseball Reference and check out the list. Those are the most notable ones that I came across. But like I said, we're going to check out some budget cards. But again, I'm going to put that on hold for a second because earlier this week, I just went to a thrift store to see if I could find any odds and ends, maybe some sports related stuff in there, and I did find something. Found this beauty that I never really heard of. This book right here. This was copyright 1967. And it is an autobiography. No dust jacket, as you can see. However, well, before we look inside, I might as well show you what it is. The autobiography of Mickey Mantle, The Education of a Baseball Player. So this should be interesting. Now we see Mickey Mantle is, 5-tool player, and the game just seemed to come easy to him, despite his ailments. So this should be interesting to, hear about his thoughts on hitting, fundamentals. But like I said, as you can see, there is no dust jacket. And when I opened it, I found this quite hilarious, that the dust jacket has been cut up and pasted in spots of the book. Something I probably would have done when I was about 8 years old. So who knows about the owner of this book. Could have been a kid also that did this handiwork. And here is the glorious picture here in the back. Look at this guy. Seems like life doesn't get much easier. But this should be very interesting. Not a long book. It's got some cool pictures in here from, Mickey's younger days. Here's one of his brothers. Him already as a Yankee. His brothers playing football. Here's him in Maryland, I should say. His wife. Him shooting some pool. Here is him, spring training, looks like. Him and Casey. Here's him when he tripped over the drain in the field with Joe DiMaggio. Couple action shots here, him bunting. So this one is from 1956, the World Series, Don Larson's perfect game. So you get the gist of it. Should be a great read, and can't wait to get inside the head of Mandel and what he thought about how to play the game right. So, very cool find, in my opinion. Wasn't expecting that one, but picked it up, didn't even hesitate. Okay, the first two cards I got here, I'm going to show them together because they kind of go hand in hand as far as this past baseball season. And they're from 1985 Topps Tiffany. We have the two managers from the American League Championship Series. We got Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker. So first here, Bochy won his 5th World Series as a manager this last year. No, correction. 4th, I believe. I think it was his 5th appearance because he guided the 98 Padres, lost to the Yankees. I believe 3 championships with the Giants, and this last one with the Rangers. So very nice. And actually, Bochy came up with the Astros. Most notably, I think, I remember him as a Padre from his playing days. Solid catcher in his day. And then we have Dusty Baker. Won his first championship with the Astros a couple years ago. Still wears the wristbands. Well, he retired, but he always wore them in the dugout when he was managing, along with the toothpick in his mouth. It's also a great one. Now, he came up with the Braves, and he was one of the few in Henry Aaron's inner circle. Him and Ralph Garr. And not many were allowed to call Henry Aaron Hank. Dusty was one of the few that was allowed to at least not give Mr. Aaron, that evil eye when his name is mentioned as Hank instead of Henry. So, they spent a lot of time together, that trio. Aaron bringing both of them, under his wing, I guess. So, cool to have these two cards together. And didn't cost much for each one of them, so really cool pickups. And I'm glad I got them both together. And I'll stick them in my Tiffany collection. Next one, here's a neat one. 1996 Metal Universe. Albert Bell. This guy was a force. I remember when he hit 50 doubles and 50 homers in the same season. I think he was the first player to do that. I'm not sure if he's the only one, but, since then. But this guy was a beast. Now, do I think he should be in the Hall of Fame? Definitely should get more consideration than he does. But as far as talent and He played 12 years. He was an intimidator. And only played till he was 33. But every season he played, since becoming a starter, he drove in over 100 RBIs every year, except the first year he had 95 in only 123 games. But even his last season, he drove in 100. To me, yes, I think he's a Hall of Famer in my book. So this is a nice one to have. Metal Universe, one of my favorites as far as the look of them. Like when I was a kid, Metal Universe was not easy to get my hands on. I didn't have eBay as a kid, so I could just pick up whatever cards I wanted. Well, not whatever cards I wanted, but cards like this anyway. But this was a premium set when it came out. That's a nice one. Next, we got a stick of Ricky in here, right? 1997 Topps Collector Series Baseball Highlights. Him as a Yankee. Nice white borders, and we got the yellow piping, the back yellow and white. Gotta love it. Ricky Henderson swipes number 600 at 27 years old. I don't ever think we'll see a guy that was on pace to steal bases like Ricky. But, that is something that's, he comes around once in a generation, so glad to pick this one up. Nothing, special, but I guess it depends on how you look at cards. Because I like it. And, wasn't very, too familiar with this one. So whenever I see something, especially at the price that I picked it up, no-brainer to pick up this Ricky. Okay, next we're going to go to the glorious year of cards, 1956. And here I picked up this card, one of the best pitchers in Red Sox history. And one of the best relievers of his time, Ellis Kinder. He started out as a starter. He won 23 games once. And became a reliever. And led the league in saves twice. His season high, 27. But tremendous pitcher. And like I said, one of the best in Red Sox history. Now, his nickname was Old Folks because he didn't make his debut until he was 31 years old. And he pitched until he was 42. Now, his catcher was Bertie Tibbetts. Tebbetts, I should say. I should get the name right. Now, Tebbetts, he caught the likes of Hal Newhouser, Dizzy Trout during his time in Detroit. Caught Bob Lemon. He caught Early Wynn. And late in his career, Bob Feller he caught. He says he never caught a better pitcher than Kinder. Now, this was said at a benefit, appreciation night for Kinder. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But still, for him to even mention those names with him, you know, it's quite an honor. And, Kinder off the field, he was a bit reckless. He loved to drink, loved his women. There is a quote here by one of his teammates. That would be Maurice McDermott. And this had to do with a little falling out with Kinder and his manager, Joe McCarthy. And here's the quote. McCarthy never asked Kinder what he'd done the night before. He always knew where Kinder was. In bed with a bottle and a blonde. So, he had a bit of a, like I said, a reckless reputation, but as far as on the field, there wasn't many better during his time, than Ellis Kinder. So that was a great pickup. Looks in great shape. That's when I was on my reliever kick, which, still goes on. So next, when you think of the 1980s, probably the biggest name for that decade may be Mike Schmidt, arguably. So I got a card here with Schmidt and another player that was dominant in the 1980s. That's Eddie Murray. Look at this card. 1982 Topps. Runs batted in leaders for 1981. Look at these two guys. On the back, got some great names, all notable. As you can see, Foster, Buckner, Carter, Concepcion, Gary Matthews, Andre Dawson makes the list, Garvey, George Hendrick, Dave Kingman. That is the National League side. And then the American League side, you got Murray at the top, but Tony Armas, who tied Murray for the home run lead in the American League with Dwight Evans. Got Ben Ogilvy on here, Winfield, Don Baylor, Tom Paciorek, Gorman Thomas, Buddy Bell, Lazinski, Rice. So a lot of great names on here. A couple bucks for this card. And it's a stunner. Glad to have that in the 80s portion of my collection. Here's another card from the 80s. 1988 Topps Traded. Brady Anderson, rookie card. Shout out to all you Boston Red Sox fans out there. Nice color on the back here. Now, many of you know, as a leadoff hitter, Anderson hit 50 home runs in 1996? I believe him and Barry Bonds are the only ones to hit 50 homers in a season and then steal 50 in another, I think. But he is the only player ever to steal 50 bases and hit 20 home runs in a season, 1992, and then hit 50 homers and steal 20 bases in another season, 1996. I believe he is the only one that's ever done that. So say what you will about Brady Anderson, but he does hold, it's not really a record, it's more of an accomplishment, that no one else does. And when you have, a player that can do that, I think it's worth having in a collection. So I'll pick this one up, a couple bucks. I don't even think it was a couple bucks, maybe $1. But looks great. So a little shout out to Brady Anderson. Okay, one more card. Now when we come over, different players, we say that they're overrated, underrated, underappreciated. Here's one that, my opinion, maybe the most underrated pitcher of the 1970s. That would be Andy Messersmith. Look at this card. One, it's 1979. We all know the centering issues on those cards. But it's also an OPG, and I love this OPG logo. (1982) also has this logo on the cards. Nice clean back. But this guy, he won 20 games twice, 19 another. Known for his low hits per 9 rates that he had. His career was 6.9. I think that's up there as far as some of the all-time numbers and ranking. But this guy, yeah, very, very overlooked as far as pitchers in the 70s. He actually has the 6th lowest ERA for a career after 1920. He's up there with, I think, Clayton Kershaw's #1. You got Hoyt Wilhelm, Whitey Ford, Sandy Koufax, Jim Palmer, and then Andy Messersmith. 2.86 was his career ERA. So if you didn't know that little tidbit, you do now. I believe this was his last card. He signed with a free agent with the Yankees, and that didn't really work out. I think he played with the Dodgers again. That's a team he was kind of most noted for, with the Angels. Those two kind of go neck and neck, but it's a beautiful card. Glad I got my hands on it. So, yes. One of the overlooked pitchers, Andy Messersmith. So there you go. That's going to round out some cards. And yes, we're over the 20-minute mark again. So I think we'll call it quits now. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me for the long haul. And we'll talk to you soon. I'm going to show some more cards here shortly. So everybody, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Be safe out there.